Hello and welcome to the Ice Guys, brought to you by the National Hockey Now Network. This is the show that takes you into the world of the National Hockey League. Every game, every day, from a betting perspective. With pro sports handicappers, Ian Cameron, Alex B. Smith, and various guests from the world of hockey and sports betting. And now, here's your host, Ian Cameron.
Welcome to the Ice Guys, presented by National Hockey Now. Wednesday, April 19th, Ian Cameron and Alex B. Smith with you, and we are joined once again by another special guest joining us here during the Stanley Cup playoffs. Former pro hockey player Joel Broda with us here on the show today. Joel, welcome to the Ice Guys. How are things with you?
Yeah, good. How are you guys? Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Great to have you with us. So tell us the hockey journey of Joel Broda. I know it was a little AHL early on, then over to Europe for a bit, but tell us about your playing days.
Yeah, I grew up playing in the Western League. I started out my junior career playing in Tri-Cities. Played there for a couple seasons. I traded to Moose Jaw when I was 18 in my draft year. Had a good year there, and ended up getting drafted by the Capitals in the 5th round of that year's draft, I think 2007. Went to my first NHL camp and came back really excited, and ended up having probably my best junior season. Had led the league in goals. Had I think I had 53 goals that year in the regular season. So I had a really good season.
Big season, yeah.
Unfortunately, the Caps were pretty stacked in terms of their prospects and stuff. I think that was right around the time they had back-to-back Calder Cup champions going on there. They were winning the President's Trophy, so I didn't end up getting signed. Went back for my overage year. Was a little bummed out at the start, but then fired her up again, and actually was a great season. Ended up winning the Western Hockey League championship, so that was pretty cool. Went to the Mem Cup. We didn't end up winning it, but that was a pretty cool experience for me to be able to win a championship like that. Then fast forward to pro, I didn't end up signing with the Capitals. The writing was kind of on the wall. Signed a 3-year deal with the Wild. Went down to Houston. Their American affiliate at the time. Had a good start, and then unfortunately got injured and was kind of in and out of the lineup. Ended up getting demoted the rest of that year. Had surgery that summer on a sports hernia, and then had a good second season, and then the third season was the lockout year, which was tough timing.
Wow,
for me.
That's a tumultuous ride you were on in your career, just with that little segment you just went on right there.
Yeah, no, lots of ups and downs.
Yeah,
it was tough timing for me because I was kind of coming off a really good second season, and that's when they had all the superstars down in the American League. Unfortunately for me, they had Charlie Coyle and Jason Zucker and Michael Granlund, a bunch of really good players that obviously need to play.
That aren't Minnesota Wild players anymore.
Why they need to play? They're all very successful NHLers now. A lot of guys on that team, actually. Darcy Kemper was our goalie. He was demoted at the start of that year. So
right, yeah,
kind of been cool to see lots of the guys I grew up and played with, had experiences with, just to see some of them have success, where they end up. So that's been cool. So long story short, didn't really work out with Minnesota. Kind of kicked around in the minor leagues a year or two, trying to find some new opportunities, and actually ended up coming full circle. I played with the American League affiliate Hershey when my last year pro. So I was back in the Caps organization, although I was just signed with Hershey. So I played there for another year, met some more guys there, guys like Chandler Stevenson, Michael Grubauer, Connor Carrick was there. So a bunch of met lots of people. I played on lots of teams. And then after that, I decided I was going to go overseas. Ended up playing in Austria, played for a few different teams in that league. We really enjoyed the league. Played there for about 7 years, and then kind of decided, hey, it's time to do something else. So just started up doing some real estate in my hometown in Prince Albert, Saskatchewan, and just living the post hockey life, which has kind of been nice for me. I haven't been around for a lot of stuff for a lot of winters, so just reconnecting with the family and friends and being around and doing some of that stuff that I grew up doing has been pretty cool.
That's a great list of players you obviously had connections with in your playing days, especially over in North America. And you're right, there's not a single player we've had on this show that says a bad word about playing in Europe. Everybody seems to love the experiences. Doesn't matter the country, right? Sweden, Germany. Yeah, everybody's happy and very and enjoys the time and the experiences they have over there.
Yeah, it's it was unbelievable just to go over there and be able to experience it and see what life is like over there, get a little bit of different taste of what life's all about, and see some places and get paid to do it, and meet some great people. It's always nice meeting other hockey guys. They're all just good people, and you meet their families, and when you get over there, especially you're kind of in the same boat in North America, but when you get over there, obviously for a lot of import players or players from North America that go over there, you get really close with them. They're your support system there. They're your family. You don't have all those other connections. Family is in a couple hours away. So you really rely on each other and help each other. And whether it's watching somebody else's kids, if they got an appointment or someone's sick or, so a lot of that stuff, we made some really, really good friends that hopefully we can continue our friendship for long after, which I think will happen. So.
Yeah, and you mentioned one player that you had association with, I think, in the Hershey days with the Bears, the home of the teddy bear toss, of course, which that's what they're known for. There is Chandler Stevenson. And that you talk about someone that works hard and has developed their game and improved and worked hard at it to get to where he is right now. And he's a bona fide top six forward now and played a lot of top line minutes the last couple of seasons for the Vegas Golden Knights. So, to see him in particular, expand his game and improve, it tells you, sometimes the work you put in and what you can do with it to improve your game. He's done that. So he definitely is the one that stood out with all the names you mentioned. Wow, what a nice career he's made it for himself just based on working and improving and just sticking to it.
Yeah. I actually played with Stevie in his rookie season there. So, you could see the talent level and you could see the gifts and stuff, and it was just him kind of figuring out that consistency every night and putting those tools to use every night, and you could just see the growth that kind of took place. And he's a good old Saskatchewan boy, so he's as good as they come.
So we can't say a bad word about him. No, of course not.
Yeah, no, he's great, and we're still buds. I still keep in contact with him a little bit, even though he's way down there. But couldn't be prouder or happier for the guys. One of the best guys. So. His transformation, he kind of came in the league with Washington as kind of that third, fourth line guy. And that trade to Vegas, he kind of turned his game up to a whole nother level, which you could always see the talent, but there's a lot of talent in that league. So like you said, to just keep working and improving his game and put himself in that position to where he's a bona fide top six guy is pretty cool and pretty impressive.
Yeah, there's no question. Although horrific night, which we will get to for him and his Vegas Golden Knights last night in Game 1 against the Winnipeg Jets. You're in Saskatchewan, so I got to ask the Connor Bedard question. Because he obviously played with the Regina Pats. I don't know if you got to see him in person play or anything like that, but
I did. I ended up missing him when he came to our hometown.
I asked,
Raiders. But then I had to make sure I saw him, because it might be one of the last times you get to see him live, especially in the Western League. So I drove down to Saskatoon with my wife, and we ended up catching a game there and ended up watching him score his 70th goal on the Blades. So it was worth the drive to see that. Nice. And he's just what he did this year was crazy. Not only statistic wise, but what he did for the Western League, selling out every rink he's been to, it was crazy. And he was worth the price of admission for that, especially that show. I didn't end up getting to watch the playoffs, but the show he put on in the playoffs too just kind of was a exclamation point on a pretty unbelievable
10 goals season. And 20 points, 19 points in 7 games.
I think it was like 11 or 12. I think it was like 11 or 12 goals.
Wow. Yeah. Unbelievable. It's 7 playoff games. He's just too good for junior hockey.
Yeah.
So that's exactly why he's going to go number 1 overall, and he's going to go straight into the NHL. He's going to not even obviously be in the AHL. He's going to go straight into the NHL right away.
Yeah, I would think he's a 30 goal, 60, 70 point guy next year. I think in the NHL. You You got to.
I think it'll take him time to get to like 50, 60 type
yeah.
numbers. It'll take him like a couple of years, I think, to get to 50, 60 type seasons, goal seasons in the NHL.
Yeah, I think there's a big learning curve there and some experience, but yeah, within 2-3 years, I think he's going to be vying for that Rocket Richard Trophy there. I think just the way you can shoot the puck, and even watching the World Juniors there, the way I think Jeff O'Neill kind of talked about it. Everybody knew he was a sniper. He could, toe drag and whatever, but just seeing the way he could control the game at that level.
Yeah.
With all the best players in junior hockey who are 2 years older than him.
Yeah,
that's the thing. And bigger.
His vision, his complete game, even the game I watched him, he's going for 70 goals. He's still back checking. He's still tying his guy up in front of the net. He ended up blocking a shot. It's like, still kind of has some of those intangibles, even when obviously he doesn't really have to. He's still doing it. So pretty impressive.
Yeah, it is extremely impressive, and that's great you got to see him in person, and hopefully Saskatchewan got their Connor Bedard fix, because that fix has come to an end.
I think it has,
Yeah, his junior days are definitely done, and we'll find out just in a couple of weeks, obviously, where he's going to end up being drafted. All right, before we turn our attention to the Stanley Cup playoffs with our first-time guests that join us on the show, we do a little get into the vault, Joel, and we go to the highlight reel. That's a little surprise that and I don't say this to anybody. Any of our guests, when we pull out the highlight reel, I don't say shit to them before the show starts about it.
Okay.
It comes in as a surprise as we pull the highlight from their playing days. So we've got two actually for Joel Broda. We've got a goal and a scrap.
Okay.
From our guy, Joel Broda. So let's see the goal that we found from him in his playing days. Here it is.
Yeah.
Look at that breakaway. I believe this is the Austrian league. Sprechen Sie Deutsch. You can hear the language in the background. That's just my pseudo-German there that I'm trying to say. But look at that goal. Great finish. Great snipe. Look at that. Great shot.
The old snapper 5-hole is my breakaway special there. So everybody who played with me knew that was my go-to every time I went in on a breakaway. But I think
that means they didn't do their scouting report.
Percentage with it though, so
they didn't do their scouting report. That team you scored on, the coach and the goalie, they're supposed to know that shit.
Yeah, that's right. He should have read it. He should have known it was coming, because it was coming.
Yeah, no doubt. And then we've got, obviously, you threw down a few times, more than a few times, of course, during your playing days. So this was actually, when I looked it up, this was one of the better scraps. It was a short fight, actually. But, for the short amount of time this fight took place, that you were throwing bombs with this guy.
The puck is on edge, and with the fresh ice, it is the icing waved off. Good speed by Joel Broda. In comes Byers to take over. He's cross-checked down from behind. And now Broda's going to go back and challenge here. We got a scrap going. Dane Byers was knocked down from behind, and that is Shane Prince going at it with Joel Broda. Those two go down, and Broda ends up on top.
Down too.
Joel Broda comes in.
There you go.
No
there you go.
was made on the hit from behind. Dane Byers didn't like it, and Joel Broda didn't like it anymore.
Got the takedown. Got a couple of licks in there with those punches. Yep. Decision to Joel Broda.
That's my old captain, my buddy Dane Byers. So I think I had a couple scraps because of him getting checked from behind. So I'll have to remind him of that I was cleaning up after him.
Right. Yeah, exactly. There's that's the great thing about YouTube, is that we'll find stuff that's documented for life. So you can't say, hey, this didn't happen. When it's on YouTube, it happened. And you
thanks for I'm sure there were some uglier clips you could have picked. So thanks for being nice to me there and picking some of my better ones. So.
Hey, we're nice to every player. We don't embarrass them. Like friggin' when Bobby Ryan was on last year during the playoffs, we're actually showing the goal of his career, basically, when he just did a tap dance on Dipsy Doo over David Legwand.
Yeah, I think I have the highlight in my mind of Bobby Ryan when you'd pick for sure.
Yeah, that was his goal of his life. That's for sure. Great stuff. Let's turn our attention to the playoffs. Just quickly, we'll go rapid fire through the 4 games last night. I mean, we'll start with the Rangers and Devils. That game and that series started the way I hoped. I bet the Rangers in the series at a very good +110 price. So again, that's for me that was with. I think it was $500, so it was $500 to win $550 with the New York Rangers. and it's off to a great start with the Game 1 victory last night. And a reason why I like the Rangers in the series, and I took their team total over last night, that was just a great game from a betting standpoint for me. One more than we lost in that game for sure. The reason for that was I thought the Rangers' experience in that series would shine through. For the Devils, it's just there's 10 players on that team with playoff experience, and the 10 players that do have playoff experience for the Devils, it's not many games at all under their belt. So, it kind of looked that way for the Devils last night. It's a big edge in net for Igor Shesterkin, and it really kind of looked that way early in the game. Not that Vanacek was terrible, but he wasn't great either. The Rangers picked their spots. Ryan Lindgren had a great game, including scoring a key goal for the Rangers to put that game out of reach. You saw the performances certainly from Adam Fox, 4 assists in the game, absolutely outstanding. And I think the Ranger blue line's a little bit more physical than the New Jersey Devils blue line, and it kind of showed that way. They kind of made it tough, and they really exploited some weaknesses on the New Jersey team defensively. They were activating the blue line, the Rangers, quite a bit, and I think it had this young Devils team kind of frantic in their own defensive zone throughout the game last night, just losing coverage over and over again. It happened for New Jersey, so it was a very good first impression for the Rangers. Now, I will say this about the Rangers, and our guy who's a resident Ranger fan that watches this show and was on the Betcast with us last night, John Massey, said this: they don't make it easy on themselves. The Rangers fans often are tortured by these 6-7 game marathon series, regardless of who they play. It's always a tough one. It's always, goes the distance. So he says this series isn't over by a long shot, and he actually likes New Jersey in game 2. We'll see about that. I still feel good about the Rangers in the series, but let's see if they've got some ability to put their foot on the throat of the opponent in game 2 and maybe go up 2-0 in this series. But a great first game. And you can tell for New Jersey, including Jack Hughes, who I thought had a minimal impact on the game for as great a season as he's had. Playoff level of hockey is a totally different animal, and maybe it takes a game for you to realize just what's required, at this time of year. Alex, Rangers Devils, what did you think?
Yeah, well, I was delighted. I had that first period over as that was my biggest bet of the night. That was the best bet on the show as well, and cashed that with ease. A couple quick goals. Really could have easily been tied at 2 out of the first period. Devils had ample chances on both those power plays. It was a great frenetic pace for, I'd say, about 35 minutes of the game, and then they kind of slowed down. We saw the defense take over for the Rangers. Of course, they got things rolling in the offensive department, and that's the thing. They wear you down. They know how they can match you on the speed game and play, east and west, but they can cycle you to death too. And move the puck around and get you out of sorts. And if they can wear you down physically on top of that, that's the edge in the series for New York. That on top of course, the goaltending of Shesterkin. But like I said, I think this could be a little bit of a zigzag early. I would lean toward New Jersey in game 2. Probably going to be right back in the first period over as well if we get as good of a price as we got yesterday, $1.10. I would like to think that would be adjusted a little higher, but if not, I'll just hop right back on it. So it's going to be a fun series. There's a reason I didn't jump in pre-series with any bets, because I just kind of felt this is going to be a back and forth battle, and things would probably settle down later on into the series, and I think that's when it favors New York to advance.
Yeah, and again, very lucky because I was on that first period over, and Alex, congrats on that with the big that was your favorite bet on the board yesterday, but I had over 5.5 as well, and that was 4-0 late in the third. Rangers are trying to shut it down. They give up a breakaway to Hughes, take a penalty shot. Jack Hughes scores on it to make it 4-1. And then the Devils actually pulled a goalie down 4-1. Lindy Ruff made that decision. And then, of course, Philip Hedl, who had a goal prop on it, like a plus 425 price, scores the empty netter. So it was just a perfect ending. I cashed the Hedl prop. The game goes over 5.5 with that 5-1 goal into the empty net. So it was just an amazing ending to that game for me from a financial standpoint, that's for sure. Lightning and Leafs, look, I'm going to keep it brief. Everyone is going to look at this game with Toronto last night. We saw it. It was embarrassing to see how they weren't ready to play. This collective nucleus of Matthews and Marner in particular that have been there for years, Tavares, you're not ready to play, and you're nervous. You're tight like a drum early, and it showed. You were just turning it over. That's a horrendous turnover on the first goal by Aston Reese, the fourth liner for the Leafs there. Horrendous. And it ends up in the back of their net. Breakdown in coverage, not clearing the rebounds, not clearing the front of the net. Samsonov had issues with rebound control, so he deserves some blame too. But in front of them, a bunch of Donies. That's what they were. I mean, they were
I ended up watching the first period too there, and they zoomed in on there's this one kid sitting in the stands that they caught at the end right after Kucherov scored that third goal, and it just, his face summed up Leaf Nation there. It was just this distraught look.
Again. Again.
That franchise is just gets tormented every year with this.
Every year with this horse shit, and that's what it's becoming right now with this Leafs team. Just horrendous play in the opening period, down 3-0. They cut it to 3-2, and at that point, wow, we got a game again here. 3-2. The building is buzzing. It was a great shot. What a snipe by Nylander to get it to 3-2. But then another penalty is taken, and then it goes to 4-2 Tampa. And even then, it's 4-2. They're still not out of the game completely. And then we saw what happened with Michael Bunting. Stupid penalty to take. Dumb, reckless, selfish. And it was a selfish penalty because you're putting your team behind the 8 ball. It just got to within a goal, and actually 4-2. And even at 4-2, you're still in the game. It's second period, you're down 2 at home. You get the next goal, you're right there again. And Michael Bunting effectively takes his team out of the game with that needless elbow, and it was warranting a 5-minute major. It was late. There was elevation in his elbow to the head area of Chernak. The puck was not in the area. It deserved the 5-minute penalty, flat out. You can't. It's just a stupid play to make. And Jeff O'Neill, that's the word he used on TSN as well. Stupid. That's exactly what it was.
It's tough. He's one of those guys that bit of a Brad Marchand type player that they ride the line of being great players. They contribute a lot, and people, their team especially, they like that edge that those guys bring and the competitiveness and that. But there's some emotional spillover that happens sometimes, and those brain farts or whatever you want to call it. And
it was
that's playoff. That's playoffs, and that's a hard lesson that he's probably learning. I'm sure he probably regrets it, but It's tough because you want to, like, he's been in the league a few years now, so he's kind of, it's like you got to know this. It's not like he's a first or second year guy. It's not his first playoff series, I don't think. Might be his second. Was last year's first year
with the Leafs? Yeah.
So I mean, it's tough. You're trying to do everything to give your team an advantage, and sometimes that happens. But it's not a good feeling when you put your team in that position, and then essentially the way that. Just watching the Tampa Bay Lightning, their power play, like it's fun to watch.
Want to give them penalties,
surgical, like the way they move. I think Kucherov's probably he should be regarded as one of the best half-wall guys of all time. The way that he can shoot the puck, the way that he can pass the puck, the deception he can use, the plays that he makes. It's fun to watch, and he the way he finds guys, whether it's Stamkos or they're just a well-oiled machine. So, to give those guys 5 minutes straight on the power play when you're down a couple goals, they're getting at least one, maybe two, and that's the game.
Yeah, and that was the game essentially, because right after that 5-minute penalty, make it 5-2. I know we weren't totally sure. We saw the puck completely cross the goal line, but apparently there was one angle where it did look like it actually was completely over. So I don't have a huge issue with that. No, Leaf fans are trying to find any way to blame someone other than the team. Some of them, they'll blame the ref, they'll blame some of the calls. They'll blame, but they won't blame anybody on the team. That's what they're kind of like. So 5-2, and then the backbreaker was the 6-2 goal at the end of the second, and that was when you knew it was over. There was no coming back, and then they made the right decision. Take Samsonov out. Wasn't his best game, and they go to Joe Wall, and it ends up 7-3 Tampa. So, yes, obviously one game, but what a horrendous first impression for a team that's just had zero success.
And you're under the microscope there, so that adds to it, right? But that hot seat you're in Toronto, man. I could see being tight going into that game because, holy man, they've been talking about this for this first game. It's been on everyone's mind for 2 months.
They knew it was going to be Tampa 2 months ago. You had 2 months to get yourself in the right mental frame of mind to start game one last night, and that's what you put out there. That's what you put out there on the ice in game one. Absolutely remarkable. And look, the game two might be a Leaf spot. Victor Hedman's very questionable. Eric Chernak might be very questionable, and you could be very depleted on the back end. if you're Tampa Bay going into game 2. And certainly Toronto should feel embarrassed and ready to throw, be hellfire and brimstone, anger, desperation, urgency, and all that in game 2. But I ain't touching it in game 2. I will say this right now, as far as game 2 is concerned, I will not commit $1 of my bankroll to a bet on this damn team in game 2. Not one single dollar. All right. It's not going to happen.
Well, it might be different if it was someone else, but you're betting against the Tampa Bay Lightning. I mean, the competitiveness that group has and the experience they have, they've been through it all, man. What haven't they been through? They've been through the first round fumbles and upsets. They've been through the tough series. Like, they're just going to keep on chugging, in my opinion.
Yeah, but the fact that they've been through it all is the reason why I don't trust them. Like I said, how can they keep this pace and level up throughout the series? The fact that they showed, like I said, little signs of let up and a little bit of a fight we saw back from Toronto, like I said, to even make that 3-2 and kind of have that close, and then they pull away. But, who's to say that, that happens next time? Now they don't get that 4-2 goal. It becomes 3-3, then they lose the lead. And then that momentum starts to build for Toronto. I think the swings of momentum are so big here, because you're talking about, these two different forces, right? We're talking about the 3-time defending Eastern Conference champions. We're talking about a team that hasn't gotten a first round since high definition television existed. And the fact that you have those two forces going back and forth, it's making for a dramatic downturn or upswing on either side. It's really a push-pull series, and it makes it great for live betting, but it makes it a lot harder to try to determine something beforehand.
Yeah, no, that's a good assessment.
It is. And so Alex, look, I don't blame you one bit for being high on Toronto and anti-Tampa. Where do you stand right now after game 1?
Well, like I said, I mean, it's a terrible start for Toronto, but do they have the ability to throw this game completely away and start from scratch in game 2? That's the question that remains seen, and that's the way they have to approach it now at this point, right? You can't harbor on this, because that's been the issue the entire time back, is that you keep harboring on the losses, keep harboring on what has happened. So you have to throw this out. You have to pretty much say there is a 6-game series, and we are shorthanded in it, and we have to start here. This is game 1 now.
And you kind of just, if you're Toronto, you got to embrace it the same way, you got to tap into Washington Capital mentality. It's kind of like, what do we have to lose here?
Are they capable?
What do we have to lose?
Yeah, right.
That they've been through it all.
Yeah,
all the hard.
I don't know if they can afford to even put themselves in that situation. They probably haven't even been in that situation during the regular season. The pressure is mounted so much at this point that you have to just completely tune it out. You can't use it to fuel anything at this point, because it's not positive fuel.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah,
crazy situation there.
Crazy situation. So let's move on, because it's unbelievable that this has happened. That was the first game from the Toronto Maple Leafs after all these failures. That's what they put out there last night. But
none still came up today, though. That's something they got to lean on.
It is only one game. It is only one game. And our guy that joined us on Monday, who I was talking with earlier today, Brandon DeFazio, was saying the same thing, that I'm not panicking yet. So I applaud his optimism. That's for sure. All right, the 2 West games: Bravo Winnipeg, Bravo Seattle. Huge road underdogs. Well, not huge in the Winnipeg case, but still a dominant win over Vegas. Vegas was awful. All right, Vegas couldn't make a play with the puck. They barely had the puck. They barely got any shots or high danger chances against the Jets. Jets played a hell of a defensive game, holding Vegas below 20 shots on goal on their home ice. Are you shitting me? What an incredible job that was by Winnipeg last night. Tough first game for Eichel. You could tell, first playoff game. Another guy that's experiencing this for the first time. Maybe going to take him some time. Vegas just didn't generate much. Like, they were stuck in mud. They looked slow. They really looked slow. And Winnipeg's not overly fast. It's not like Winnipeg is a speed demon by any stretch of the imagination, but they made Vegas look slow last night in that game. And the Jets were full marks for that 5-1 victory, which a brutal beat. If you had under 5.5, by the way, my gosh, my condolences. That was awful. The 5-1 goal scored with 15 seconds left to put it over the total. That's tough. That is a tough beat. If you were on the under 5.5 in that game. And Seattle last night in their game, Alex, they showed they could skate with Colorado. The pace is not too big for them, because they are a fast hockey team. Line 1 through 4. The defense are mobile. for the Kraken. And for Colorado, look, they didn't generate much, down 3-1 in their own building at home in game one. Seattle shut him down, and credit to Philip Grubauer. You think this series means something to him? You think there's not thoughts going through his mind entering game one tomorrow night? Hey, this team punted on me the year before we won the cup. They won the cup and said, hey, they didn't think I was good enough, and they went to Darcy. Now, it obviously worked out for Colorado. But for Grubauer still, at least from a head-to-head standpoint, this is his first time to prove to Colorado in a playoff series, hey, fuck you guys for not re-signing me. I'm here, I'm ready to play, and I'm ready to beat your ass. And that was a hell of a performance by Philip Grubauer. That was the game of the season from him. Because let's be honest, he's had an uneven season in net for Seattle. Some good, some bad, ups and downs. So bad at one point, Martin Jones was getting the boatload of starts earlier in the season for the Seattle Kraken. But that was a phenomenal effort in net. And I think that's a guy playing with some severe motivation. Everyone wants to win. It's the Stanley Cup playoffs, win a cup, win a series, and advance. But I think there's a little personal motivation for Philip Grubauer that Colorado didn't let him walk and did not re-sign him a couple of seasons ago. But that was a great team effort from Seattle, opportunistic offensively. The penalty kill was outstanding. I don't want to say that after one game overreact, say Seattle's winning the series, but Seattle's very live in this series now after what I saw. They can skate with Colorado. If it's a pace game, Seattle can hang in with it. And you've got a regular season series of Seattle versus Colorado filled with results that prove they can play with this team, because every time they played each other in the regular season, it was a tough game for Colorado. And we saw more of it last night, Alex, didn't we?
Yeah, absolutely. And, the thing is, not only do I feel more comfortable about Seattle's chances, but I didn't like how Colorado responded at times where they needed to have a little bit more urgency. It just wasn't there. And if they can't call to action in those times, I mean, that's what got them through it to winning the Stanley Cup last year. They could be in trouble in this series potentially because, like I said, Seattle's really the team playing with nothing to lose. And no one's counting them to do much of anything. And they have a real chance now with home ice on their side. They could take a serious stranglehold in the series playing a game too. So, that's one I'm not going to be betting on pregame. I'm going to be waiting to bet live, but I'm leaning toward looking at Seattle if Colorado rather can't come out hot and jump out to a big lead. They have to show that urgency and determination, I'd say, in the first 10 minutes of the game.
Yeah, and the thing is, too, even if you like Colorado in game two and you want them to bounce back and you think they can even up the series, I mean, these game-to-game prices in the series really aren't going to fluctuate too much when you look at it. And here we go again where you're looking at, -1, -200, 215 with Colorado. And this feels like a closer series matchup-wise and going back to the regular season between the Kraken and the Avs, that, -215 is a big price to be putting out there on a Colorado team that has not had it easy in a single game this year, head-to-head against the Seattle Kraken. Joel, what did you think of the two West games, Winnipeg and Seattle, rather, victorious?
I didn't get a chance to watch either of those games live. I was catching up a little bit on some of the highlights and stuff. I didn't catch a lot of highlights on the Vegas game, but did catch a little bit more on the Kraken game there, and we talked a little bit about it before the pregame, and yeah, I think the factor you talked about with Gruby there, having something to prove. From my experience, a motivated goaltender that can be the difference in the series very easily, especially early on in the playoffs. And Colorado, like you touched on, Alex, they might have the Stanley Cup hangover going on a little bit, but they got to figure that out quick, because when you're playing a team like that with nothing to lose, I've been on the other side where I've been that team that kind of is expected to win, and the game one doesn't go your way, and you kind of say, oh, well, they got lucky. And game two comes and they win another one. Then all of a sudden it's like it's pretty much do or die at that point. So, they got to wake up, be ready for game two and not kind of shrug it off and kind of say, oh, we're the champs, we'll figure it out, So that's something that needs to be addressed right away. And it'll be interesting to see going into game two what Colorado team you see, because we've obviously seen what they can do and what they're capable of last year, and they have had some injuries and stuff this year, but all the core pieces are still there. So, and
that actually leads me to a good question, Joel. If you're the team like Seattle, you're up on the road 1-0, you have a chance to take that 2-0 lead back home. How crucial is it for that locker room to say, hey, let's get this win here and control our own destiny so they can get back home with that lead? Like how imperative is that?
It is. Yeah, it's really important getting that, as a visiting team, the underdogs in the series, not having home ice advantage, that's your goal heading into Colorado. You're going in there to get a split. Anything above a split is great, but your goal is take one out of there. If you can get the first one, great. But even the series out, and you're dealing with a bunch of guys now in Seattle that they're all like Philip Grubauer. They all have a chip on their shoulder. They all have something to prove. And, it's taken an extra season, but they didn't do the Vegas run to the finals like they did their first year. But, I think they're going to be a force to be reckoned with. That chip on your shoulder and that something to prove, that takes guys a long way. And if you have a whole team that has that and they figure it out and they figure out how to play together, that's a force to be reckoned with. And
Vegas in year one, all the way to the Stanley Cup final. Yep.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. And then you have a couple guys with a couple personal vendettas, one of them being the goalie. I think it's going to be an interesting series, I think so.
Yeah, absolutely. So, like I said, that's a fascinating series now. And another thing, too, is where the hell is Colorado going to get third, fourth line offense? The more I look at it, they did nothing. Absolutely zip last night. The third and the fourth line from Colorado. They didn't even have any scoring chances, really. I mean, Rantanen and McKinnon obviously had their opportunities. 7 shots on goal for McKinnon, and I think Rantanen had like a bunch as well. But, a lot of shots on. They had a bunch of chances, but I'm worried. They don't have that forward depth. I'm convinced of it that they did last year when they won the Stanley Cup. So that's a little concerning. Meanwhile, Seattle's getting a goal from Morgan Geekie, which was that key 3-1 goal down their lineup to put the game away. And they got nothing from McCann and Dunn. So you could even say for Seattle winning, that's a great sign they won that game in Colorado with nothing from McCann or Dunn, who have been their dominant offensive performers this season as well. So, yeah, Burakovsky and Kadri, their losses hurt. There's no doubt. Kadri, too, because Kadri fit in nicely with Colorado. I know he didn't have a great year in Calgary, but he fit in nicely in Colorado, and you can tell they're missing him right now for sure. Yeah. All right, we got 4 games tonight on this Wednesday slate. Let's get to it. Game 2, Islanders-Hurricanes. We've got the Carolina Hurricanes -170, home favorites, 5.5 the total in this Game 2. Wouldn't surprise me, honestly, if Carolina makes it 2-0. I think this has the chance to be a homer series. Because Carolina, let's be honest, Carolina's lost 1 home playoff game the last 2 seasons, and it was Game 7, second round against the New York Rangers last year. It's the only evidence we've seen of Carolina losing on home ice here in the Stanley Cup playoffs the last 2 seasons. So they've been very good here. It's a nice environment, and it's the same environment that I'm sure the Islanders are going to get back at UBS Arena for Game 3 and 4. So I could really see the home team prevailing here in the majority of this series. The only bet I have in this game is the draw. I'm going to come back to it again tonight, even though it fell short in Game 1. We nearly got there. Again, this is a series I think is going to have at the very least 1 or 2 overtime games with just how tight these games are. Good defensive hockey teams, especially Carolina. Although the Islanders, they're a good defensive hockey team because of their goalie, and that's Ilya Sorokin. They're actually not as good in terms of danger chances allowed, shots on goal per game allowed. They're giving up a lot more shots, the New York Islanders. And I'm coming back to the Sorokin saves tonight in this game for the Islanders. So that's the thing about playoff hockey. You don't have to bet the money line. You don't have to bet who's going to win the game. You don't have to bet the total. You can find other ways to try to profit and make money, and prop wagers, different means of trying to attack it, at this time of year. And I think this is a game where it's going to be, I think, a 1 goal. It's going to be a tight game again. You're going to have Sorokin and Ranta, the 2 respective goalies, back in net for their teams here tonight. As far as lineup adjustments, obviously Carolina is not going to adjust much. I'm sure they're very happy with their game in the other night. And the New York Islanders, it looks like for them, not really any major adjustments either. I mean, it still looks like a very similar lineup, forwards and defense, compared to Game 1. So Lane Lambert opting not to make many changes. But, this is what the series is going to be. It's going to be hard to find open ice. It's 2 teams that are good at keeping the puck out of the net. For Carolina, it's more the team defense that is so good at keeping the puck out of the net. For the Islanders, it's more their goalie, Sorokin, because I don't think they're nearly as good defensively in front of their goalie, the Islanders, as they've been in the past under Barry Trotz. But because their goalie can bail them out, they're still able to keep teams to a lower amount of goals. So, I know it was under easily in game one. It's hard for me to bet an over in this series, let me tell you that. So I'm going to go draw at a nice price here in this game, take a shot that this game goes to overtime, which again, and I think we're going to eventually see some overtime hockey in this series just by nature of how close these games are going to be between the Islanders and Hurricanes. You can get plus 340 at FanDuel for the draw in this game. And I'm also going to look at the Ilya Sorokin saves prop once again here tonight. Alex, what do you think? Game 2, Islanders, Hurricanes.
Yeah, I actually grabbed 320 for the draw at Bet Online, but I played it a little bit smaller because I'm just kind of riding with this great, series bet that I have. I'm hoping that I can get another Carolina win at home. Like I said, I have that 48-1 ticket for the series to go 7 games with each home team getting the victory. So I'm just riding that wave, and I think this is going to be a much tighter game. Like I said, definitely seems like it could be 2-2 heading into overtime, and I think we have OT here. I think we can see multiple times. I think we can see this game really tighten up even more once we do see those OTs. So that makes anybody's live to get a goal in this series if it goes to OT. I think the unlikeliest of heroes will emerge with some of these overtime games in this particular series. So that's pretty much what I'm going to stay with, just a draw. Like I said, I don't want anything on the side. De facto, I'm kind of rooting for Carolina to keep that home trend going. But I think it's going to take a lot longer than 60 minutes tonight.
Yeah, and a few props. I'm coming back to Stefan Nason again. I talked about it in game 1. This guy could make an impact. He's given him power play minutes. He's up the lineup now for Rod Brindamore. His props are undervalued compared to Aho and some of the other big guns on this Carolina team, Natchez. I mean, all of a sudden, there's sneaky value in player props for Stefan Nason, who found the back of the net, of course, for Carolina in game 1. Again, when we're talking with Nason here, his point prop is only even money, plus 110 at FanDuel, and the goal prop is plus 350 at some spots. That's an incredible price for a guy that's going to get opportunities. He's a big body. He's fit in nicely here with Carolina. I think that's a great look. I'm going to stick by Teravainen too. He was pretty quiet in game 1, but he's still been a player prop, guy in the playoffs in recent years. So I don't mind that. And Brent Burns, someone said it in our chat. Yes, he's been going over his shots on goal routinely. He's pounding the puck a lot. Brent Burns shots on goal over. Brent Burns to get a point, which cashed very early. Beauty assist, beauty apple he had on the power play there, Brent Burns, on the first Carolina goal, finding Aho on the power play. So Brent Burns to get a point, which is still a pretty decent price. I'm looking at the odds right now. Brent Burns over shots on goal I like, and the point prop minus 142. Still a good enough price, though. I'll look to bet that as well in this one. Joel, what do you think here? Game 2 with New York and Carolina.
Yeah, I like Carolina. They've been good all year, and the team defense. I think that shines a little bit stronger than the relying on the goalie. I think just the way they play, they're so tight defensively. I'd like to give the edge to Carolina, I think, for sure in game 2, especially the way they play at home.
Yeah, very good at home, liking them. Like I said, I think they'll win the game, but I'm hoping they win it in overtime. That would make me very happy and a little bit richer.
Might happen.
Absolutely. And at that price, plus 340, worth a shot, no doubt. All right, game 2 in the other Eastern Conference first-round series taking place tonight, Florida and Boston. We've got the Bruins minus 220, home favorites, 6 the total in this one. I thought Florida could take a lot of positives from the loss in game 1. They actually carried the game flow. And what I mean by that is they had the puck more. They had more shots. They probably had more offensive zone time than Boston, but they didn't achieve a high degree of quality out of it. A lot of their shots were to the outside, and I thought, while they had a lot of shots and they had the puck on their stick much of that game, did they generate a lot of high quality? I don't think so. So that's the concern. But it's still a positive. It's better than Boston having the puck all night and being in the Florida zone all night. So the Panthers can take some solace from that, even though they lost in game 1. And they actually look like they're going to get healthier here because Sam Bennett, who's been out for a while down the stretch for Florida, looks like he's going to return to the lineup here for the Panthers in game 2 tonight. So that is definitely good news for the Panthers. They are not pulling the cord on Alex Lyon after game one. Really, he had that horrible goal that he gave up to Brad Marchand off the glove and in. It was like a Ethos baseball pitch type of shot from Marchand, 70 miles per hour. It was something he should have had, but I think he's earned another start because I don't know if Bobrovsky would have done any better for a guy that's been up and down all season for Florida and hasn't played in a while, coming off the illness he had. And Lyon was excellent other than that horrible goal he gave up. He couldn't have done anything about
Brad Marchand's done that to a few goalies over his career, though. I think he's got that underrated heavy snapshot of his. So he's done that to a few guys. So
you've seen it before, then, where it's like it looks like, hey,
I might have done it to a few goalies in my day too. So
okay.
Never you gotta give Lyon a bit of a pass there.
Comparing yourself to Brad Marchand now, good stuff. No, he's a great player, though. You're right. I agree with your points, though, about that. He does feel like his shot's a little bit, underrated.
He's got a great shot. Yeah, there's some heaviness to it that I think. He's been in the league a long time, but he can shoot the puck. So, catch a guy a little bit off guard for sure. Maybe.
There's no doubt about that. So, this is a tricky game because look, I don't want to step in front of Boston, but at the same time, I really truly believe Florida's throwing a lot, including the kitchen sink at the Boston Bruins in this game. So, and I also think that after game one stayed under, which was kind of frustrating for me because I did like the over in game. I thought at 3-1 after the second period, we were still in very good shape to at least get a push out of that. And sure enough, the game ends up still staying under the total. I'm not deviating from that thought process, though. That was the first game all season, including the regular season, between Florida and Boston to stay under the total. I'm going to go back to the over here tonight with Florida and Boston, over 6, minus 120. And rather than trusting Florida to win the game tonight, I do think they're going to pepper a lot of more shots tonight. Even though, they still have the home games, they don't want to go down 2-0. I'm taking a small shot because this is Boston. You can't have the utmost confidence when you're trying to go against this team in some fashion, but I'm going to go with that Panthers team total tonight, over 2.5. Again, all they need is 3 goals. All they need is 3. It's not a bad price. I think they're going to throw a lot here. I'd trust that rather than them to win the game because I don't trust them fully to win the game. I think Boston's just better, but I see something like a 4-3, 5-3 type of final score, most likely for Boston, not Florida. So, because you have to have some kind of game flow in mind with series wagers and game-to-game adjustments. Yep. And that's what I think we're going to see. I think we're going to see a little more high-event hockey tonight. I think Florida was trying to play sound in their own end, and they still lost. I think they're going to try to ramp it up. It's not Paul Maurice's preference to do this, but I think they're going to try to get this more run-and-gun, freewheeling, up and down, north-south style of hockey tonight, Florida. Try to open things up a little bit here against this Boston team. So those are the 2 bets for me as far as the side and total. Florida team total over 2.5 at a nice even money price, but the bigger bet for me is over 6 for the full game total here, minus 120 in this one. And there's a few shots on goal props I like here too. Pasternak, even though he stayed under the last game, I'm still going back to the well because he's been more than often than not going over his shot prop. DeBrusque over shots I like. On the Florida side, Montour I think is going to shoot the puck a lot more. I like Forsling as well from the blue line has been an underrated shot prop guy lately for Florida. So I like that one. Maybe Bennett coming back into the lineup. He's just so anxious and excited to be back that he ends up going over his shot prop. So I like the shot props in this game overall. And like I say, I'm going to go with Panthers team total over smaller and bigger on the over 6. Alex, Florida, Boston, game 2.
Did I hear you say earlier that Paul Maurice might actually utilize what helped this team win a President's Trophy last year and actually play some run and gun up and down hockey?
He even said it. He said we might look toward, getting a little bit more aggressive with our blue line. He actually said it in his statement, his press conference yesterday in the off day. So thankfully, hallelujah.
What a novel fucking concept. Way to wait till game 84 to use that, huh? It's just crazy. But listen, I think Florida's going to have a much better effort here tonight. And there's a couple of things I like here. And like you said, it kind of runs in that same kind of game flow theory. I love the first period over here. I played that yesterday, laid $1.30. I like that up to $1.40, $1.45. I think, like I said, we're going to see the goals. I think we're going to see it early. Also, we look at both teams to score in the first period. I could see Florida maybe jumping out and getting that first goal and Boston answering right back. I think it's going to be that kind of, fighting in the phone booth kind of a game. We see back and forth, and I wouldn't be shocked if we see Florida up 3-2 heading into the third period, and that tying goal comes from someone unlikely. I'm going Garnet Hathaway plus 650 as an anytime goal scorer. I feel like that's one of those roles where he's brought in for, right? Come in late, third, line guy, but they bring him in and bring a little energy. Maybe they shift him up a little bit. He gets that kind of a tying goal. He's one of those guys that usually kind of chips in and gets that dirty work done. And I like the draw here. Grab that plus 365. I took a small shot with that. I could see this one going, he said 3-3 in the overtime, and I think Boston ends it pretty quickly. It would be pretty crippling loss for Florida. You go in the OT in Boston, and then I think they lose this one maybe 2-3 minutes in, and now they got to get back on a plane, go home, down 0-2, and then that's where the doubt really starts to creep in. And hopefully that would be leading to what I bet at the beginning of this, Boston and 4 at plus 500.
There we go. So that's what we were open for. Yeah, you think, just like me, Florida's going to push back hard tonight. And like I said, I think they can get to 3 goals. I still don't trust them fully to win the game, and I don't think Alex does either. Fully trust them to win the game, but they will have a better effort here tonight. So that's what I'm going with. Like I say, Panther team total over 2. I like a lot of Alex's looks. First period over. Both teams to score first period. Sprinkle on the draw because I think Florida's going to be in this game. So I might even jump on a couple of those. What do you think here? And by the way, Joel Broda, talk about class act. What podcast and video show etiquette there. He was sneezing a minute ago and he had the mic muted. So amazing stuff. That's well done there. That's what you call show etiquette. Joel, what do you think here? Florida, Boston.
Yeah, I like your guys' bets. I think it's going to get back to 2 pretty offensive teams. I think it's definitely going to play the over 4-3, 5-3 game. So I like that. I do like Boston. I just think the year they're having, they're firing on all cylinders and they're a well-oiled machine. And I just see them roll. And I like Alex bet that they're going to take it in 4. It's going to be close. It's going to be a tough series, but like you said, if it goes to overtime or something tonight and Boston gets it done, which they've had a knack for doing this year, then that might be the nail in the coffin. So,
all right, there we go. Good stuff, indeed. All right, that's the first 2 games of this card. 216 live viewers on YouTube. Hit the like button and shout out to our podcast listeners as well. Appreciate you joining us. We'll be back to talk about the 2 games out west in the first round, Game 2 matchups. Minnesota, Dallas, LA, Edmonton coming up right after we hear from Gramco.
Support for the Ice Guys is brought to you by Gramco. Whether you or your team's game is on the field, screen, racetrack, court, or the ice, Gramco is for the game. Grown by farmers who spent years developing premium hemp genetics, Gramco provides customers with consistent quality Delta-8 THC products ready for any occasion. Gramco currently offers numerous Delta-8 products, including vape cartridges, disposable vapes, pre-rolls, gummies, wake and bake coffee, and more. Gramco offers an enjoyable, legal high delivered discreetly and directly to you. Gramco is also available at many American retailers as well. You can get the best Delta-8 cannabis products on the market shipped quickly and discreetly from Gramco. And if you visit www.thegramco.com, use promo code ICEGUYS, you will get 20% off of every order, and any order that's on the site over $50 will be shipped free with standard shipping. So live elevated with Gramco and check out their wonderful Delta-8 products today.
All right, we're back, and it is time to go out west, and it's Minnesota, Dallas, Game 2. And what do these teams have left in the tank after a hard-fought, physical, in-the-trenches warfare? That's what it felt like watching Wild Stars in Game 1. We'll see what they have left in Game 2 in their reserve. Dallas minus 150, home favorites, 5.5 the total in this game. You know, that really gutsy win by Minnesota, first of all. Look, and that was a game where both teams took turns controlling the play. I thought Minnesota was the better team in the first period. Dallas came on and got better and stronger as the game went on. Minnesota could have ended it very early in the first overtime. Ottinger made a couple of incredible saves. And then after that, it was pretty much all Dallas, you know, in the rest of the first overtime and into the second overtime. I mean, all the chances. I think the ones that I stand out is Wyatt Johnston missed a wide open net, just shot it wide. The post shot by Rope Hintz on the power play. The wide open net for Mason Marchment that Brock Faber made an incredible play diving, getting the stick on it and deflecting it out of play, which would have been, I think, the game winner right there for the Dallas Stars. And then Ryan Hartman just seconds later with the empty net goal. This kind of feels like win one for the Gipper night for Joe Pavelski, who, of course, suffered the hit at the hands of Matt Dumba. I'm upset about the hit because it took Pavelski out of the series probably, and at least for game 2, and he's not playing tonight. And Peter DeBoer just committed to tonight that he's not playing here tonight in this game. So interesting to see how it goes, but we're going to go with Dallas here, -1. And that's the way I'm going to – I don't want to lay this price, -150. I don't. Now it's at a point where it's just a little too high, too rich for my blood. So for me, it's going to be take Dallas down to the -1 puck line. It's +108, at that price at Pinnacle. That way, if they win by exactly 1 goal, it's a push, no harm, no foul, with the chance that maybe Dallas can extend the margin here because, obviously this is a very important game for them. Don't want to go down 2-0 here in this series. Gustafsson, very good. Ottinger, very good, obviously, in that last game. But this is just the preferred route, because I knew I'd be looking at Dallas in game 2 after the game 1 loss. But I don't feel comfortable -150 because this is going to be a close game, most likely. Again, I also probably might sprinkle on the draw just a little bit. I like the draw a lot more in game 1. I don't know. The way I see this going is I could see Dallas putting a hammer down tonight, potentially. I'm not saying they're going to win, 7-3 like Tampa did last night, but 3-1, 4-1, Dallas, I could see it. Ottinger playing well, maybe a little bit more traffic in front of the net. And keep in mind, the Wild are still very much shorthanded too. I know Pavelski is a huge loss for Dallas. They have to adjust the top line going into this game tonight. Robertson, Hintz, and Sagan are going to be on the top line. I like Sagan props for sure. Overshots, maybe to get a point, get a goal, getting that boost in the lineup. Joel, that's one thing we talk about from a betting perspective on this show is that when a player goes up the lineup, second line to top line, third line to a top 6 role, you automatically get value in their player props. They're playing with better players. They're shooting the puck more. They get more ice time, more opportunities. Logically, that makes sense to you, doesn't it?
Absolutely, yeah.
No. Yeah, so that's exactly why I think Tyler Seguin, props are worth a look here tonight in this game. I actually like what Terry Edelman, our resident Minnesota fan, is saying in the chat about Nyquist. Why not? He's scored in a point in 4 straight games. I think if you're going to look at an undervalued Minnesota player to get a point tonight, I probably will bet that, honestly. And look, I want some Minnesota Wild props, even though I like Dallas in the game, because I do think that Minnesota can still chip in a little bit. So Gus Nyquist point prop is very reasonable here in this game tonight. I don't mind that whatsoever. Again, no Pavelski, but kind of feels like for one game, everybody can pull up the bootstraps. There's still no Klingberg, by the way, and Sundqvist and Eriksson Ek. Last check, I don't believe they're playing tonight for the Minnesota Wild. Eriksson Ek with the lower body injuries, questionable right now for game 2. I know they won game 1 without him, but still talking about a guy that you miss his offense, his face-off prowess, his excellent defensive play away from the puck. So might be without Eriksson Ek for a second straight game here as well. So for me, it's just a small, tiny pinch on the draw, but mostly Dallas -1 +108, the puck line. And I want the -1. I don't want any -1.5. I want the -1 security in case they win by exactly 1 goal. Alex, what do you think here? Wild Stars.
So I'm going to lead this off with what you should do if you like a side in the series. If you like Dallas, if you haven't gotten down on Dallas already with $1.40 or, Dallas to win in 6, now's your time to grab that, but shop around and get a plus price because I'm seeing, picking prices all over the place. So you want to get plus money on that. Don't lay anything if you don't have to. If you like Minnesota in this series, I would assume that you already have it in pocket. But if not, here's what you play. Play Minnesota to win this game small. You play Minnesota to sweep at +900, and you play Minnesota to win in 5 at +600. Because if they can go back home 2-0, and I don't see the Wild losing game 3. I said this in my preview. I felt very strongly about the Wild in game 3. So if you're looking at it from that angle, a 2-0, a start heading back home is essentially a 3-0 start. So now you might as well put +900 in pocket now because that won't be around. If they win this game tonight, that's going to be cut in half, and obviously cut even smaller if they go up 3-0. So put that in pocket if you do like the Wild to win the series and you think they can win this game tonight. As far as attacking the game individually goes, I did sprinkle on the draw a little bit. And, Ice X in the chat makes a great point. Yeah, for Dallas to win this game, they need to avoid overtime. They need to put the screws to Minnesota and win this thing in regulation. They should cover the 1.5, to be honest. So I get Ian why you like that -1, play it safe. If it goes OT and they win, you just push it. But I'm going to just stay with the draw. Maybe look to pick off some spots in game. I think we do see goals going back both ways, but maybe not a lot of early. I think we can see a lot more physicality early, obviously, with what transpired with game one and the different hits. And, everybody was upset with what Ryan Suter was doing to Kaprizov, hitting him in the back a bunch of times. And, of course, Dumba's hit on Pavelski. So we're going to see that chippiness. We're going to see a lot more. We're going to see a lot more 4-on-4s. That's clearly how the refs are calling these things now. They're calling everything even. They don't want to give anybody an advantage, and they want to restore order. So we're seeing a lot more of the 4-on-4 calls instead of, they're singling out one guy and a power play being an advantage for one team or the other. So that's something to really keep an eye on, and that's something to beware of if you're looking for totals going over.
Yeah, exactly. Which we might see. I don't know. I just get that sense that the sneaky over could be tonight. Could be. I'm not. I don't have the guts to bet it because the goaltending is just so rock solid right now. Like both guys are in great form. Gustafsson and Ottinger, they were excellent in game one. But I sometimes like overs in games off a massive overtime game, and the goalies faced a lot of shots that maybe they're a little bit more vulnerable to letting a goal in or two tonight in this game. So I haven't bet it yet, and I don't know if I will, but I'm tempted at least by the over a little bit tonight.
I just want to make it clear too, because I'm reading the chat. Yeah, I haven't bet those angles that I talked about with Minnesota, but that is the way to bet if you like Minnesota in this game or in this series. That's the proper way to do it. You take a unit and split it up amongst tonight to end the series in a sweep and to end the series in 5 games, and then you ensure yourself way more profit moving forward.
That's great. That's great advice. That's great money management advice and sound advice if you're on board with Minnesota in this series, for sure. That's a good way of approaching it, no doubt. Joel, what do you think here? Minnesota, Dallas, game 2.
Yeah, plenty of drama in that series going on with all the hits and stuff. I kind of like the Wild in game 2. I like Alex's prediction there, and the fact that Dallas is a little more shorthanded now. I think I gotta give Minnesota the nod here. The former club.
You got a new best friend, by the way, in our chat, Joel, with that statement, Terry. Love you to death now. So you like Minnesota?
Yeah. I just think they're kind of young, and they've gone through their rebuild, and I think they're kind of poised to keep taking steps forward here.
There you go. Like in Minnesota, it's not a bad price. Like plus 130. They won game 1. There is more pressure ratcheting up on Dallas tonight in this game, so I understand it. I totally do. I don't fault anyone for taking a shot with Minnesota, but I'm not pulling the plug on Dallas after a game 1 overtime loss. I can't. I got to stick to it. You said Dallas before the series. You're not jumping off the bandwagon after one game. I could see me doing it with Toronto because that was a horseshit game last night from them, but Dallas was right there. They didn't play a bad game. It was just they didn't get the overtime bounce. They didn't get the overtime goal. They didn't capitalize on one of their chances, and Minnesota did. I mean, that's how close it was, the razor-thin margin. So we'll see how it goes, but very important game tonight, obviously. Same with this one. Final game on this slate for this Wednesday night. West first round, game 2, LA Kings, Edmonton Oilers. Edmonton minus 230, home favorites, 6.5 being the total in this one. Man, did I pick the right way to attack it in game 1 with Edmonton. I focused more on the first period puck line with Edmonton, saying that after losing game 1 at home to LA last year, the first period they'd have a better start. They did. Problem is, it stayed 2-0 after that great first period. They're all over LA. They're swarming Jonas Korpisalo. Connor McDavid doing going right through the entire Kings team for a chance that he almost scored on. They scored on the power play after that. They got a 5-on-3, up 2-0 early. But then the whole second period goes by, and Edmonton kind of took their foot off the gas, and they just, not totally, but a little bit, and it stayed 2-0. They weren't playing terrible, and LA wasn't doing a lot, but it stayed 2-0 for a long time. And Joel, I've said this all playoffs, and Alex and I both, with these games that stay 2-0, and the team that's up 2-0 doesn't make it 3-0, you're inviting the other team back into the game And sure enough, LA early third period gets that next goal. And instead of Edmonton getting it to 3-0, which probably would have put it away, LA gets it to 2-1 with Kempe's goal. Then Edmonton actually makes it 3-1 with Draisaitl. And then LA, again, Kempe strikes to get it quickly right back again and make it 3-2. And it's a game again. And sure enough, ill-timed penalty late in the third period allows Todd McClellan to pull the goalie and get 6-on-4. And the Kings tie it in the final seconds with Kopitar, a scramble in the goal crease area. And then in overtime, another bad penalty by Vinny Desharnais, for the Edmonton Oilers, a penalty you can't take. And I don't know what he was so upset about. It was clear as penalty. It was a bad penalty to take. And LA ends the game on the power play there. Alex Iafallo. So just like that, they let it slip away. And a game that Edmonton was in control of for 2 periods, they end up losing in overtime in game 1. So how do they respond here? We did see how they responded last year. They put the boots to LA in game 2 at home after losing game 1. I'm not sure this Kings team is going to be a put the boots to them type of outfit, even if Edmonton plays better here tonight in this game. So, LA is I've said this in this series. I loved Edmonton in the playoffs and finally break through and maybe win the West. And I still think they can win this series. And I think I'm still standing by them that they will, but this LA team is good. They are mentally tough. They are resilient. Their defense and their goaltending is a lot better after getting Gavrikov. Gavrikov was outstanding, by the way, in game 1 for the Kings. He was breaking up plays. His defense on McDavid at times was as good as you could play him, and it's tough as fuck, as we all know, to defend Connor McDavid. But he did a good job. Korpisalo kept them in it. It's just not going to be an easy series and an easy road back for Edmonton. But, we're just like with Dallas. I'm kind of not ready to abandon ship here. I'm going to go with a couple of things here in this one as far as the side goes. We're going to go with a little bit on Edmonton here in the first period puck line again, split with a -1. A little. I'm going to split them up between those two. So -0.5 plus 130 first period, -1, a little pricey, I will admit, at -148 at Pinnacle, but we'll go with that as a split. And I'm also actually going to take a little small shot on LA money line too, because the way I'm going to approach it is I want to cover all bases here in this game. A good start for Edmonton, a chance to maybe blow them out. But if this game's tight late, LA can steal it. So it's a unique approach, but I find it's the best way to go about it here in this game. I've still got more money pot committed on Edmonton tonight with the first period puck line and the full game puck line. But I'm also doing that small sprinkle on the LA money line just because I think just on the surface, plus 190, that's a bit high to be given a team like the LA Kings right now. As far as props go in this game here tonight, the over is probably the lean for me as far as the total goes. And the bet that I like, I haven't even gotten to the bet I like the most in this game. It's Korpisalo over saves, because I think Edmonton is really firing the puck a lot tonight. I expect a 30, 35 shot, maybe even a 40 shot performance tonight from this Edmonton Oilers team, trying to avoid the 0-2 deficit. And I think at only 29.5, by the way, the save prop for Jonas Korpisalo tonight in this game. You've got to expect the game flow is going to be carried by Edmonton. They need this one. Even though they've been a great road team, you don't want to go down 2-0 in this series to LA. So that's where we're rolling here. Jonas Korpisalo for the LA Kings over the save prop 29.5, which is a very reasonable number considering the way I think Edmonton's going to come out firing that puck tonight. Alex, game 2 in the West, Kings Oilers.
Yeah, it's funny. I co-signed you on that Edmonton first period puck line in game 1, but didn't bet it myself. So I'm just taking that. This one at plus 125, the half a goal. And like I said, I'm just going to go in and out with that. I think Edmonton should win this game easily. And tie the series up. Like I said, I like the series going 6 games, and I thought it could easily be a split in games 1 and 2 anyway. So there's no other way I really want to attack it. Like I said, I'll obviously be watching the game, so I might look for something in the game, but just going to stick with that first period puck line. And I trust Edmonton to at least, obviously the adjustments they're going to make from game 1 to game 2 would have nothing to do with the first 20 minutes of play, because that was fantastic. It was the last 35 minutes of play that were problematic. So I think they'll try to come out with that same energy they had in game 1 and game 2, but they just have to find a way to sustain that energy in the second and third periods.
greatest price, but I am on Connor McDavid, goal scorer, -120. A small sprinkle on 2+ and the hat trick as well for Connor. But the primary bet is the anytime goal scorer, -120. But again, I find in a game where he didn't do a whole lot, I mean, in terms of offensive production in game one tonight, and with his team losing, he's done this before in the playoffs, including against LA, and then he's a monster, the game after a loss. So McDavid to score and a little bit on the 2+ goal prop for McDavid tonight. Definitely interested in that. And I'm going back to the well with Evan Bouchard once again for the Edmonton Oilers. This is ludicrous that the point prop for him is +105 at Betway, the score bet, +102 at FanDuel, +100 at BetMGM. Are you kidding me? Like, Evan Bouchard is getting the #1 power play. He's taken all the minutes and opportunity left that with Tyson Barrie getting traded to Nashville. He's firing the puck a lot. He's even money. He's even +105 in some spots to get a point in this game tonight. And of course, he scored the other night in the game one against the LA Kings. So yeah, it's still continuing to be a ridiculous value right now with Evan Bouchard props for the Edmonton Oilers, who has just walked into that power play quarterback role on the blue line, and a great offensive-minded defenseman he is quickly becoming here for the Edmonton Oilers. What do you think here, Joel? Game 2, Kings-Oilers.
Yeah, I definitely like Edmonton. I think it's a little bit it'll be interesting to see how they respond, but I think, they're a mature group. They've had a few playoff runs here. They have a more experienced group that they're going to realize that, this run they've been on at the last tail end of the season, being so hot, they knew that was going to come to an end. And I think they're going to nip it in the butt right away here. I don't think they're going to let it linger. I do really like the thoughts of Connor and Draisaitl and those guys having a big response. And, they're just going to take it as a bit of a learning curve as far as, you can't let teams hang around. You got to finish them off. You got to make the most of those chances. You can't take your foot off the gas because that happens. You let teams hang around and weird stuff happens in the playoffs at the end of games. So I do think that they're going to come out, like you said, firing the puck a lot, guns a-blazing. McDavid, I'm going to be kind of looking for him to kind of take over the series, like you said, like last year. I think he's kind of taking it on personally, and seems like he's playing with a bit of a chip on his shoulder. And I know we were all excited last year when you see him just kind of elevate his game and just kind of take over series like he did at the end of the first round and against Calgary. And I think for him, not getting a point is obviously pretty rare this year. And I think that's just going to give him that extra motivation that he's just going to step his game up and take it to another level here for the rest of the series. So definitely like Edmonton, and I think might be a bit of a blowout tonight.
Might be a bit of a blowout. I kind of sense it might be too, but I don't want to sell LA short. And if they don't have the good start, and this is tight, beyond back half of the game, if we get to the midway mark of the second period, and this is like 1-0 or 1-1 or 2-1, 2-2, something like that, Edmonton's playing with fire, and they might get burned. So,
yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah. Very important, that early start to this one, no question. But a good game. And a couple, like I say, for shot props, McDavid. I like McDavid shot props, the goal prop, the 2+ goal prop, sprinkle as well. Draisaitl shots over. Kempe shots over. And Kopitar for LA. Those are the guys that I would focus on for shots on goal as far as this Kings-Oilers game is concerned. Absolutely great stuff. And we thank Joel Broda, our special guest, for joining us. Hit the like button, 225 live viewers on YouTube. We will be back to wrap up the show in just a moment with our best bets right after we hear from Manscaped. Support for the Ice Guys is brought to you by Manscaped, who is the best in men's below-the-waist grooming. Their products are precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. Manscaped's Performance Package, the ultimate men's hygiene bundle. Join over 7 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with this exclusive offer for you, 20% off and free worldwide shipping with the promo code ICEGUYS. That's promo code ICEGUYS at manscaped.com. If my math is correct, it's about 14 million balls that you can preserve. The Performance Package 4.0 is the complete accessory package to take care of everything that is required. You've got, of course, the Lawnmower 4.0 takes care of your facial hair, and among other things. You've got, of course, the Weed Whacker. I'm approaching 40. Nose hair has become a major issue. It pisses the hell out of me. I need to take care of that shit, and the Weed Whacker can help you do that. Both of these products, waterproof and a 4000K LED spotlight for a more precise shave. And you'll also be able to take care of those delicate areas with the ball toner, with the ball deodorant, keep you smelling good, looking good, and feeling good down in the nether regions. This complete performance package 4.0 will take care of everything for you, for all you guys out there, and it's courtesy of our good friends at manscaped.com. So get 20% off and free shipping with the promo code IceGuys at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com. And use promo code IceGuys. Unlock your confidence and always use the right tools for the job with Manscaped. All right, good stuff there. All right, appreciate it, Emily. There, funny stuff. I was laughing at Emily's comments after the Manscaped ad. Trim your nuts and wash your ass. Look, we can say anything we want here. We always let everything go uncensored. I'll say this too: nothing feels better when you're in the shower and a bar of soap up and down right through the rectum. I'm telling you, you clean out that butt. You feel so much better after. I mean, you really, you really do. I mean, seriously. I mean, I always feel nice and fresh after that. So I get what you're saying, Emily, in the chat. It's thorough. I mean, right up there, and you feel so much better. It's like a weight off your shoulders. I couldn't resist. When I saw wash your ass, I'm like, I know what she's saying, Emily. She's 100% right. Yeah, it's just it just feels so much better. All right, best bets. Hopefully everybody will be feeling better with our best bets and putting some money in our pockets for this Wednesday card. Alex, we'll start with you. What do you like for best bet?
I'm going to go with the Boston Bruins and Florida Panthers. First period over 1.5 minus $1.30. This is definitely, Florida's got to come out swinging here in this first period, and they got to match that intensity and pace that we saw from Boston in the first 15-20 minutes of play in game one. And they know the importance of, they can't afford to go down 0-2. I think it's still going to happen, but I think they're going to have their best hockey in that first 20 minutes, as will Boston. It's going to be a lot of fun. So let's go over 1.5 minus $1.30 as my best bet.
All right, there you go. Liking that first period over. Florida Panthers, Boston Bruins. Best bet for Alex B. Smith. Joel, awesome job with us here on the show today. Maybe get you back later on during the playoffs. But a best bet, throw one at us.
My best bet, I'm going to go with the over on the Florida-Boston game. I think it's going to be a more high-scoring game. I like the over in that game.
All right, there you go. Florida, Boston, over 6, minus 120. Best bet for Joel Broda. My best bet for this card, I'm going to go with Dallas, -1, plus 108 against Minnesota. And again, I like the plus 108 at -1. I'm not crazy about laying $1.50, so I like Dallas -1, plus 108. For the puck line against Minnesota for a best bet here on the show. Joel, someone's saying in the chat, Mo Harris, Joel looks stoned. No, he's just relaxed. I think that's all it is. He's in Arizona. He's relaxed. I'd be relaxed.
No, I'm just relaxed. No, no.
Yeah. See, that's what you get. We've got to keep this chat under control most days, Joel. That's what you get sometimes with some of our viewers and listeners. But awesome stuff. Thanks to everyone for joining us. Hit the like button. Reminder, the Ice Guys is live 7 days a week, Monday to Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern, Saturday and Sunday, noon Eastern. If you can't watch the show live, download the Ice Guys podcast in audio form on all major podcast platforms. Joel, it's been a blast. Hope you enjoyed your first time on the Ice Guys show.
Yeah, no, thanks a lot, guys. Thanks for having me. And really not a super big sports bettor, but really informative. And maybe, who knows, maybe I'll start throwing a few bets around now that I got some tips here. So
you got people that work their ass off and know hockey and we're profitable long term. So you got the right people in your corner if you're going to dabble.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly. Why not?
No question.
Thanks a lot, guys. Thanks for having me. It was a lot of fun.
Thanks, Joel. For Alex B. Smith and our special guest, Joel Broda, I'm Ian Cameron. Have a great Wednesday night. Enjoy the games and good luck. And we will talk to you again tomorrow on Thursday for another edition of the Ice Guys presented by National Hockey Now.